Dandadan is an anime that's currently airing that's taking the world by storm. Everyone and their mother is watching it. Quite literally, they are. Your favorite AniTuber is probably freaking out about it. Reddit and Twitter are probably memeing the fuck out of every screen cap of the anime they find even remotely funny. And while it is an amazing anime, I have one problem with it. And this problem has less to do with Dandadan as an anime, and more so about how we as modern people watch anime, and how we kinda suck at talking about it. Let me explain. If you watch my video about high school and anime, which you really should if you haven't already, it's my most viewed video yet. In the intro of that video, I said that I was 25 this year, soon to be 26, which puts my birthday roughly around the late 90s. And I like to refer to the people born in and around this time period as the bridge generation. This is the generation that grew up enjoying some of the analog technology from the late 90s, but we didn't get to enjoy them too long as everything switched to digital come the 2000s. For example, I actually had a digital MP3 player growing up, but my very middle-class family had a car with a cassette player in it. 2.9% of my audience are Zoomers. I wonder if they even know what the fuck these things are. And in terms of anime, it is a whiplash of emotions watching episodes of illegally uploaded anime on early YouTube that was split up into 20 different parts to avoid copyright, to legal websites like Crunchyroll and Netflix. But if watching anime during this period was difficult enough, talking about it was even harder. Because if you wanted to talk to another person about anime, you only had the choice of going to an anime convention and physically talking to other weebs there, or by going to a really sketchy forum website that you swear will give you a virus.
Macaroni with chicken strips?
But now you don't really have this. A lot of YouTubers have their own Discord servers for their fans to gather and interact with. Reddit and Twitter are open forums for anyone to discuss in. Fucking Amino is still a thing, somehow. It's never been easier to connect with your fellow degenerate weeb. But there kinda lies my problem with watching modern anime, and by extension how I experience Dandadan. Cause while it's easy to connect with people now, there is a shit ton of noise. Noise is a term from communication studies that's defined as the influencers on effective communication that affect the interpretation of conversations. In caveman brain speak, noise is basically the physical or emotional tics that come from the world and people around you that can affect how you understand a conversation. Think of a long game of telephone with you at the very end. Obviously, by the time the message reaches you, it's completely changed meaning, either because someone up the chain wasn't paying attention or just didn't really care to get the message right. This is how noise can affect the message of a conversation. And in the online anime sphere, there is a lot of noise. Making generalized statements about how amazing an anime is going to be is part and parcel of the online weeb identity. When was the last time you were on Reddit or Twitter and you didn't see someone chime into a discussion by saying that anime will be saved when this popular action shonen gets adapted in 5 years? Or how all waifus are inferior when this obscure character from an even more obscure manga arrives in anime form? And these are innocent enough comments, but when it's chronic, it makes it hard to have a meaningful discussion. A good example of this is JJK. The manga is ending soon, but half of the conversation about its ending is talking about how good Kagurabachi is and why to not even bother with JJK at this point. It's this kind of noise that I call the next big thing situation. The internet is going to tell you to be excited for the next big thing when the previous big thing hasn't even ended yet. The moment a popular anime is approaching its end, half of the internet is already talking about what other anime is going to replace it. There's no downtime between anime, no time to appreciate, process, and mourn the story you just witnessed. It's just a constant state of hype for the next big thing. And since I don't want to make this into a back in my day type of video, contrary to the tone so far and the title of the video, I'm loving Dandadan. The comedy is on point, the romance is as wonderfully awkward as it should be between two teenagers, and the action, while not really my style of action, is still amazingly animated and is kinetic enough to keep me engaged. It's an all-around good ride, and I can understand why it's at the top of everyone's watch list for this season. But I'm definitely enjoying Dandadan in spite of the hype around it. I watched the one Scamboli reviews video about Dandadan when it came out 2 years ago. Even then, I only watched it once, then forgot the manga even existed. And outside of this and the manga, that's all I've consumed about Dandadan. I have enough context to get me excited for more while being able to process what I've watched and how I feel about it. There's enough room for me to be pleasantly surprised, which is what you lose when you're exposed to so much noise. I can only take so much of people telling me how this one show is gonna save anime and how I need to watch it now before I crash out and just get jaded, cause yeah, when all you hear are good things, it sounds too good to be true. And I know this is subjective, but how much noise I'm exposed to can definitely affect how I consume anime. Like, fun fact about me, I haven't watched anything that's remotely related to Demon Slayer. Not because I think Demon Slayer is bad or I'm some hipster that doesn't watch anything popular, but because there's still so much noise and hype around Demon Slayer that I'm scared of watching it and going, it was alright, yeah, it was good. It was as good as everyone says, can't complain, got nothing bad to say about it. And that would suck, because I know it's genuinely good and I've only heard amazing things about it. But I hear you, right? If you're so worried about online noise, just disconnect. The do not recommend button is just right there. Why are you complaining about this? And yeah, you're right. That's usually the correct thing to do for a problem like this. But what if I told you that simply disconnecting doesn't work anymore? That even if you avoid the noise will come find you. So what partly inspired me to make this video is the community posts that you're currently seeing on screen. These are posts from a YouTuber who I have no idea who they are or the kind of content they make, yet for some reason, the YouTube algorithm just started pushing their community posts onto my feed. Which, digging further, this person runs their channel as a meme page essentially. I did not know that's how some people choose to make their communities here, so that was mind-opening. I didn't ask for this kind of content, I didn't consent to this kind of content, and even after pressing the do not recommend button, I'm still getting their content. And this is what I mean by the noise will come find you. There's an algorithm behind everything now. Every website is designed to keep you engaged and to stay on for as long as possible. Even if you disconnect from every anime forum that you're involved in, some algorithm on some other website that you use will tell you all about the next big thing. And I know this is rich coming from me. I'm another dime a dozen AniTuber whose channel lives and dies by the generosity of the YouTube algorithm. It's not my right to be complaining about this. I wake up in a cold sweat checking my analytics just to make sure everything is doing okay. God help me if my voice is ever used for YouTube slop. But I feel like there's a difference between one dude yapping your ear off about why an anime is good, and the incomprehensible mind of an algorithm as it slowly warps your perception of things as it pushes you to content that you may or may not have asked for. And it's pretty terrifying when you phrase it like that. You're on a train that has no brakes and with no way to get off of it. And this sucks because it's hard to truly appreciate something when you already have a preconceived idea on how you should feel about it or how it can serve you before you've even begun to consume it. I enjoy Dandadan because I knew nothing of it. By avoiding all the constant glazing, I didn't have my opinion pre-made for me, and I had room to process what I watched. And that's the point of this video. Hype is not a bad thing in of itself. It's natural to get excited for the things that we like. But hype with a shit ton of noise is the killer of being pleasantly surprised, which is a feeling that's getting more and more rare nowadays because of how aggressive the content mill is. Since the algorithm just blasts you with content that varies in quality, there's no room for the unknown. Yes, there's fear in not knowing, but there's an equal amount of joy and charm in not knowing what comes next. Between people who leak the next chapters in a manga being celebrated as heroes, to people reposting the same 10 memes about a character to milk their notoriety for those sweet updates, to an algorithm inorganically showing you what the next big thing is. 1,000 people will tell you 1,000 different things so that you'll feel 1,000 different ways. It's getting harder and harder to drown out this kind of noise. And you'll realize that the only way to win this game of noisy content is not to play.